Hey parents, welcome to another resource review. In this segment, I review parenting resources and tools for you so that you can be more informed before you buy. Why buy something that you're not actually going to use or something that's not going to be helpful for you? That's why this segment exists. As always, there will be a link in the description box below to the product just in case you want to purchase. Today, I'm reviewing a series of parenting journals put together by Kristen Ivy and Reggie Joyner. They're part of Orange, also known as the Rethink Group, and that group is out of Georgia. This series is called Parenting Through the Phases. It's a lot of them. And the books can be bought individually or as a whole set of 18. There's a slight discount if you buy them all at once, but it is a big chunk of change to buy all 18 at one time. So for some families, it may be more prudent to buy one each year. Put together, they give mostly helpful guidance from the newborn phase all the way through the senior year of high school. I'm going to set these down. All right, so are you ready for my honest review? Here's what comes in each book. Each book is formatted in the same basic way. It tells you what the targeted age range is. So for instance, parenting your fifth grader. And then it gives you a catchphrase for that age. For example, in the newborn to 1-year-old phase, which stops at 1 year old, there is a phase specifically for the 1-year-old. The newborn phase is called the I need you now phase. Pretty appropriate. And the 8th grade phase is called Yeah, I know. Again, captures what we know about 8th graders, doesn't it? A general list of approximate milestones or expectations for physical, verbal, mental, and emotional development is included in each book. And then every book has 6 things that kids need in each phase and how you can consider and help meet those needs. These things are the same for each phase. So the 6 things are love, stories, work, fun, tribes, and words. And then each of those in each phase are adjusted to meet the developmental needs of each phase. I personally really like the work phase because a lot of parents don't realize how much their kids can actually do around the house. And so really breaking it down into the work that they're able to do can be super helpful so that you can set expectations for your kids at home and help make them into productive adults in the future. Then each book also has 4 conversations that need to happen in each phase. And they give helpful tips or helpful prompts for how to start those conversations in developmentally appropriate ways. Again, the 4 things are the same in each phase and adjusted for the developmental needs of each phase. The conversations are health, sex, technology, and faith. Then each phase suggests a rhythm that meets the developmental needs of each phase. So for instance, in the newborn phase, the developmental rhythm includes the morning time, feeding time, cuddle time, and bath time, and how you can make the most out of those times, out of that specific rhythm for that specific age. And then lastly, each book has a full map of all of the phases that help you understand how the phases go together and lead into one another. So I'm just going to show you one of those maps. It folds out from within the book. It's really beautiful, shows you how everything goes together, and that map is the same in each and every book. I am particularly a fan of how they address the conversations within each phase, especially around technology and sex. I also love how they encourage you to consider who else has influence on your child in the tribe section of each book. They really hit the nail on the head. We aren't meant to do this parenting thing alone. Now, conversely, something I find slightly annoying about these journals is that they seem to create a checklist for parenting. Like if you do all of these things correctly, your kids are going to turn out without any issues. And this is a flaw, honestly, of most parenting books. It's really just a marketing tool to convince people to buy it. The reality is that no matter how great the advice is, our kids aren't going to turn out perfect, and we're going to make mistakes. So, given the flaws, do I recommend these books? Yeah, I do. Let's face it, very few parents are child and adolescent development experts. But knowing some basics about development can help us do our best when faced with the challenges and frustrations and even the joys of raising children. Knowing the basics help us keep things in perspective. Also, the bite-sized chunks provided by dividing it up into 18 separate books can help keep us from getting overwhelmed by too much information. I could see how getting the newborn book when one is still expecting or preparing for adoption or whatever route brings someone into parenting, getting that newborn book phase before the baby is in your arms, and then either being gifted or purchasing each subsequent book in in subsequent years, could really help parents stay informed without getting overwhelmed. You will find these most helpful if you have a discipline of taking time each day or each week to journal or reflect, or if you use these books in a book club or in a group in which parents support one another through each phase, or if you're a middle or upper income family with lots of connections. I'm just going to be super honest. While all of this developmental information and the philosophy behind the books are things that I 100% get behind and promote and recommend to people, it's easier if your own basic needs are met. Low-income families or families who are dealing with a lot of trauma, or families who are just generally not well connected will find these journals and books more difficult to implement. What you won't find in these books is what to do when you have multiple kids in different phases. All of us can agree that parenting gets exponentially more difficult when you have kids who need different things. While these books do a really great job of helping you to understand each phase, there's no magic bullet on how to balance all the needs in your household. You might want to pass on these if you have no intention of using the journaling aspect, even if it's just conversationally in a group or with your partner. If you don't intend to talk about it with anyone or journal about it, you might want to pass. While the information is really fantastic, and I mean it really is fantastic, they're meant to be most effective when you're using the writing prompts and when you really think through how you'd like to go about things in your own family. If you want the developmental information without the journaling aspect, you can check out another book called It's Just a Phase, and I'll link that below as well. It's developed by the same team. It has the same basic information. It doesn't have all of the conversational prompts and things like that, but it has the developmental information in it. And while It's Just a Phase is written specifically for people in ministry, such as youth pastors, it can be equally as helpful for parents. So I will link that below. But again, it doesn't have the conversational prompts or things that are included in these books. So that's a bummer. They used to have a few of these that were not the journaling style, that were even thinner and just had the developmental information and the conversational prompts. But they stopped after like 2 or 3 books making those, and they switched to this format. So that's unfortunate, but these are still really wonderful. So that's my review of the Parenting Through the Phases series, published by Orange. Overall, I think they've done a tremendous job, and it's definitely worth your consideration. That's all for now. You can see the description box below for links to the products I mentioned, and join me next time for another resource review. Bye, friends.